At Reliable Roofing, we're dedicated to providing exceptional roofing
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition. Now, here's your host, Reggie Flood.
All right, bright and early on a Saturday. You know what time it is. This is the Jaguar Journal. Of course, I am Perry White. Good morning to everyone out there listening. If you're up bright and early, starting to get to that point of the year when you start to wake up at 7 a.m. and it's still dark outside. You know, at first, I used to get up this early and at least daylight will motivate me. But right now, it's not motivating me too well when you get up and it's dark. It's starting to get dark still in the early hours of the morning when you get up and get ready to go to work, and it's getting dark early now on the back end in which you get off work. So, yeah, we starting to get in that little funky pattern. Then I think they took away daylight savings time. So there's no more daylight savings time to even balance it out. Of course, you know, there's an old history to daylight saving time, and it was because of the crops and farming and all that other stuff. But now with all this technology, we don't even need it anymore, so they say. So they took it away. So now there's nothing we can do about it. It'd be dark early in the morning. It'd be dark early when you get off work. So hope everybody had a great homecoming out there last week, man. You know, it was a good time. What they say was a time to be had. It was really great. I was actually surprised and shocked with the crowd that showed up in the game. I thought fans probably weren't not going to show up the way that they did, but appreciate you for showing up. We could have had more. We could have put more in there. Could have did more, but, you know, nonetheless, man, hope everybody had a good homecoming. I didn't see anything in the news, so we had a safe homecoming. And shout out to everybody that was open up for tailgating. I know Mike came out there and had a good time last week, and shout out to Vark. I know my boy Vark opened up his tailgate and to have a good time, man. And that's what the time was to be had, man. I'm going to tell you, I really enjoyed myself. Walked around, saw a lot of people I had not seen in a long time. Enjoyed the game, enjoyed the band, enjoyed just the overall camaraderie, as they call it, of homecoming. You run into so many people from all generations, all ages, from all over the place, and you get a chance to have conversations about what was the yard like back in your time, you know, and what was the things that you guys did and how was it, and, you know, I just enjoyed all of that. I enjoyed every bit of it, and once Mike get this taken care of, I'm going to ask Mike how his homecoming was. Mike, how was your homecoming, man?
The environment-wise, I couldn't expect more. It was really fun, especially when I couldn't find you for the first 2 hours. I just found Reggie, and then I fell asleep again, and then I finally found you. Then we walked around for a little bit.
So that's what I tried to tell him. So Mike texted me after the show, was like, when should I meet you? What did I say, Mike? I said immediately after the show, didn't I?
Yep, right after the game. But I had to go get my computer fixed so I can get the show better, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I told him, I said, man, if you wait too late, what'll happen is I lose phone service. And lo and behold, about 10-something, I couldn't even I started trying to send out texts, trying to get up with people, trying to make calls, and listen, it was already over with at about 10-something that morning. So I'm not even sure what time I got up with Mike. It had to probably be in the latter part of the day. But the crazy part was I walked around, and I randomly ran into Reggie Flood. Like randomly, just of all the people, just randomly walked into Reg. Reg said, "Hey man, Mike looking for you. He back here at the tailgate. He done ate. He done fell asleep. He done ate. He done having a good time looking for you." I said, "All right, I'm on my way." So I followed Flood, and we went back there, and then Mike popped out with us, and then I wouldn't call it the shenanigans, but I guess there was a lot in terms of the environment. So we had a good time, and I hope you guys had a good time too. Southern got the victory last week over Lincoln out of California. You know, I heard some people, you know, the fact that Southern gave up those 18 points. And I said, you know what, now I look back at it, Lincoln scored more points against Southern than Alabama A&M and UAPB. So, you know, and I think a lot of that, too, is just taking your foot off the gas with a team like that, you know. But I think a lot of people in their head had an idea of to beat them, I guess, worse than what we did. And I got to give a huge shout out to Coach Jeremy Funno, head soccer coach, women's soccer coach over there at Southern. Man, they are undefeated in soccer in the SWAC. They are rolling right now. So I have to give a shout out to Coach Jeremy Funno. He's been on the show numerous times. And congratulations to him, to the Southern University women's soccer team. They're rolling right now. In preseason, they were picked second behind Jackson State. And right now, it's looking like there's a three-way of the three best teams with Grambling, Southern, and Jackson. So the big three are actually the big three in soccer right now. So they're rocking and rolling in that. And so congratulations to them. They got a victory yesterday against UAPB 1-0. So anytime, I guess, you can beat UAPB as a Southern fan, that's a good day for me. So, but and it's UAPB's homecoming, matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it. Good morning to, I know people in Pine Bluff do listen. They pay attention to what we're doing down here. So if anybody up there is listening, good morning to you guys. I know they're having homecoming this weekend. They're taking on Alcorn, so that should be an eventful one today. Just certain places and certain teams I think you shouldn't schedule if you're UAPB for homecoming. Maybe they should have scheduled Lincoln if they wanted to get a victory, because they're going to have a tough one with Alcorn, and especially the way Alcorn is coming around right now. Aaron Allen, their quarterback, seems to be finding himself. Alcorn still seems to be struggling running the ball. And as the show goes on, I'll give you some scores around the SWAC last week, give you some updates about who's playing this week, and we'll get an overall idea of where we at. We're about mid-season right now. This week 8 of college football. And so right now we're going to learn who these teams are, where they're going. And for the big thing for Southern, I think Southern, although Southern has won 3 of their last 4 games. So 3-1 in their last 4 games, with they only lost to Florida A&M. Got victories against Alabama A&M, UAPB, and Lincoln. Florida A&M with that loss, and a tough one too. It was a close game. It wasn't nothing short of a really good game compared to, you know, considering how it ended, the questionable 2-minute drill running the ball. But other than that, Southern is 3-1 in their last 4 games, looking to make it 4-1 today on the road in Jacksonville, Florida, against Bethune-Cookman. And that's going to be one. Bethune-Cookman is winless, and they lost last week to Texas Southern. And, you know, I actually picked Bethune to win that game. I thought that was one Bethune could get. Today's game in Jacksonville, in the NFL stadium where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. So the Jaguars at the Jaguars, I think that should be pretty interesting. But, you know, looking at Bethune, I think they can play you tough. Bethune is a tough team. Bethune does, I believe they have the athletes, right? I believe they have the athletes. But the thing about Bethune-Cookman, you can't take them lightly, right? This is one of those games where if you look at the schedule, it's a word that it's a phrase that we call a trap game. And there's the possibility of this being a trap game for Southern, because what we're looking at, Southern is still truly trying to find an identity. We're looking at Southern still try to figure out who they are offensively. I think defensively, you've seen who Southern is. Southern is big and bad on defense, right? Coach Miller has done a great job in terms of keeping Southern in the fight, keeping them in the hunt. This is the offensive side of the ball. The run game is there one time, and then it's not there the rest of the times. You know, you got Garrett Quarles, you got Kendrick Grimes, you got Kobe Dillon. Of those 3 backs, we've been looking for production out of those 3 guys, and I'm talking about consistent production. Looking at what can these guys do for us on the ground and make Coach Eric Dooley comfortable with running the ball. And not only with those guys, the O-line being up front to be able to block and open up lanes and give these guys chances to run. And then Harold Blood. You know, it was rocky to start the season, and I'm still not quite sure where to put my finger at with Harold Blood. Harold Blood, one thing I would say as a quarterback, he stares down his receivers. Defensively, when you look at Harold Blood, you know exactly where he's going because he stares them down, and he doesn't get the ball out zip fast, quick, in a hurry. It's the timing. It's the chemistry you have with your receivers coming from the quarterback position, And that's one of the characteristics, one of the traits I'm starting to notice with Harold Blood as we've watched him progress through the season. His first season as a starter at Southern, he's been there for quite some time. And to watch him as a quarterback grow and learn. But right now, he stare down his receivers. You can tell when it comes to being comfortable, he's not comfortable with the timing routes and just knowing to put it there and that his receiver will be there. He has to just really look at you and say, all right, you are right there. I'm giving you the ball. And that's become one of the issues with Harold Blood, especially when you're talking about being sacked, being pressured out of the backfield. He's not the greatest runner out of the backfield. And that's the other thing. He does not truly give you a dual threat from the quarterback position. And we've seen that. And it's kind of hampered this, especially when the run game is not kicked up and going with those guys, Gary Quarles, Kendrick Grimes, and Kobe Dillon. And Southern wide receivers, of course, Jalen Howard, Petrie, the rest of those guys, as the season progressed, and as we go on into this stretch, Bethune-Cookman today, Texas Southern, Alcorn, Prairie View, and so forth going into the Classic, want to make sure and see what can we do in order to get this thing in order, because it's right here in Southern's hands. The season is literally right here for Southern to take. The SWAC West lines up perfectly with the schedule that's about to roll. You're going to roll with Texas Southern. You're going to roll with Alcorn, Prairie View, then Grambling. And all of those games are winnable, but it's hard to pick Southern, I think, as a Southern fan when you look around because, once again, you don't know who we are. Every game, we don't know who's going to show up, who's not going to show up. Now, I know that 0-2 start turned a lot of people off with losing on the road to Alabama State and losing at home to Jackson State. But like Coach Eric Dooley said, and we've been critical of them, of course, nobody wants to see them fail. But as fans, as lovers of Southern, especially football fans, we love our football over there on the Bluff. I shouldn't have to tell you, if you get up this early in the morning and listen to me, I know you love Southern and its football. But it's one of the things that I think from Coach is we've had issues with him. We talked about this last week. We talked about it last year, and we've been talking about it since the Dooley era of him holding himself accountable with preparing his teams and putting them in positions to win. And it's life. It is okay if you mess up. Nobody's perfect. Nobody calls, every coach in their mind think they called a perfect play, the perfect game. Every play a coach calls, he thinks they all should have amounted to something. But it was the player execution. I get it. But at some point, you got to have accountability as a coach. And I think that's the main thing that he can try to maybe pull the fan base back in just a little bit, especially down this stretch if they can get these victories. Because I look at the matchup with Southern and Bethune today. Southern, to me, if you look at it, is the team to win. They're the team to beat. You look at next week against Texas Southern. Southern has lost his last two to Texas Southern. Those two games being in Dallas. But having it at home, Texas Southern, 1 win on the season, 2 wins, they beat Lincoln and they beat Bethune-Cookman last week at Bethune-Cookman's homecoming. For me, Southern is the better team. Still a winnable game. Now, the big game I'm going to circle is Southern going on the road to Lorman, Mississippi at Alcorn. That is the game I think everybody's going to want to see, especially if Alcorn can keep going with the way that they're going with a victory against Pine Bluff today and whoever's next on their schedule. And if Southern can get past Bethune-Cookman and Texas Southern, that sets up a huge game in Lorman, Mississippi between the Jags and the Braves for first place position in the SWAC West. That's the type of football we're looking for. That's the type of environment and excitement we're looking for, especially at this time of the year as things start to shape up. Because nobody has any room to slip. You got Prairie View right there at 3-1. Grambling just failed. Grambling is now lost to Alcorn and Alabama A&M. Then you got Southern and Alcorn. Southern, Alcorn, and Prairie View are still right there. And to be honest, Grambling is still in the hunt. We saw this thing the way that it ended last year. It came down literally to the last week of college football regular season to decide who the SWAC West division champion was going to be. Prairie View had a simple task. Go on the road against a team in Itta Mississippi, in Mississippi Valley, who had not won many games at all. And the SWAC West is yours for the second consecutive year. They fell short, got blew out. Failed in on Texas Southern, a 5-win Texas Southern team who had beat Southern, who had beat Alcorn. Texas Southern's up 14, under 7 minutes left in the fourth, on the road in Huntsville, and they fall short. And they haven't been right since, especially from the quarterback position of Andrew Body. He just has not seemed to have been able to recover from that injury, and you've seen them suffer majorly this year because of that. Then Texas Southern loses. Then it falls down to the Bayou Classic. Southern, you were up next. And Alcorn was still knocking on the door. At some point, Alcorn still had life. So between Prairie View, Texas Southern, and Alcorn, it came down literally to the wire. And it looked like Southern was ready to give it up in that Bayou Classic. For 3 quarters, Grambling had their way running that ball. Why they stopped running it, I still don't know with Hugh Jackson. He put the ball in his quarterback hands. His quarterback then caused 4 turnovers, in which was costly for the Tigers, and the Jaguars then took advantage of it. Bashawn McCray becomes the MVP without, I think, the worst stats I've ever seen of a quarterback being called an MVP. I think he had 60 or 70 rushing yards and maybe 50 passing yards. Then we get to the SWAC championship. So the season is very much right there in front of us, everybody. Southern is in position. It's going to come down to Coach Eric Dooley getting his team in position. It's going to come down to these players to be able to execute. And it's going to come down to the camaraderie. I asked Coach Dooley earlier this week at the press conference, his weekly press conference. I said, Coach, you guys have won 3 of your last 4 games. What seems to be different about this team now as you get midseason? He said it's gelling together, the chemistry. Guys now being excited for another guy catching a touchdown. Guys being excited for another guy making a big play. So what that told me early on, it sounded like maybe there was some jealousy issues on this team, or unhappiness because of what another guy was able to do, or the fact he was able to start, or the fact he's making plays and I'm not making plays. And that matters when you talk about the camaraderie and the chemistry of a team and building them together and being able to go out and win games. You got to have all that gelling together. You got to be excited. And I saw some of that early, especially during fall camp and going into the scrimmage, where guys were getting upset because they were being called off and another guy was being called in for the next play. And they felt that was their position, or that was their duty to be in the next play. Man, just next man up. Get ready. Rest yourself. Get a drink of water, whatever. Get ready for the next play. I'm noticing it especially on a high school level when it comes to high school football out there on Thursday and Friday nights, man. I'm seeing it. This is just a new generation of kids. I mean, let's just be frank. I don't have no excuse, but they are different these days. Completely different. They want to be coddled. They want to be, told how great of a job that they're doing at all times, even if they're not doing a great job. Just a new generation of students and student athletes. And how coaches have to handle these student athletes today compared to in the past, completely different. The old day practices they're barely surviving, and for the vast majority of the time, they won't survive in today's world. It's a whole new world in terms of, pampering and catering, and I can't stand it. That's me personally. Pampering and catering to some young people. You still got something to prove to me, and that's called hard work. You don't get rewarded just because you cry. You get rewarded because of what you do in terms of the job, in terms of what's been put in front of you in terms of a goal. And they got to be tough, too, with this new generation of student athletes, and I'm noticing it and I'm watching it. And that's the key to being a good coach. How do you then evolve with the times and be able to get a team to work together and put away all that prima donna mindset? I almost went somewhere else with it. But being able to put that away and say, let's win a championship together. Forget an individual. What they say, it ain't no I in team. That's what's, for me, I think that's what I was starting to see. And Coach Dooley got to understand, ain't no I in coach either. I hope that makes sense. That when you as a coach are in a position to get these young men in a chance to win games, you really hurt their morale. Because I can hear in Jordan Carter at the press conference 2 weeks ago after that Florida A&M game saying, you know, the media was praising him, Jordan, you know, Carter, your stats, this and your stats that. He said, man, that don't matter. I just want to win games. I came here to win championships. So for me, that's what matters. And we're starting to watch this thing unfold, and we'll see it unfold as it continue to go on. Southern on the road today in Jacksonville, Florida against Bethune-Cookman. We're going to get ready to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. That was the open. That's just to wake you guys up and get it going and get you rolling at 7:30 in this morning. So y'all stay tuned. Good morning to everybody out there listening on YouTube, on Facebook. Good morning to everybody out there in Alexandria, New Orleans, and all over, because people stream this thing everywhere. Good morning. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, all right? We're going to take a break. Mike, take us out, and we'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call away.
At Reliable Roofing, we're dedicated to providing exceptional roofing services, including roof inspections, repairs, and complete roof installations, with over 30 years' experience.
Reliable Roofing provided me with valuable, quality, and dependable service. They were reliable and affordable. Please protect your most valuable investment with quality roofing services from Reliable Roofing. Definitely where the pros go.
Let our family help your family. Call for a free estimate today.
All right, it's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there listening. Good morning to everybody in the chat. on YouTube. I'm going through looking at everybody right now, man. Good morning, Kevin Walker, Ronald Hunt, Edwin Moore, all you guys in there, man. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. We got a call on the line. You said Johnny? Good morning, Johnny. How you doing?
Good morning, Perry. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay, man. Hey, just piggybacking on a couple things that you mentioned earlier, and it's something I harp on every week. Just thinking about the offense in general. We talk about the offensive line, we talk about the quarterback play, but I think a lot of it starts with the head man himself, since he's the offensive coordinator. Case in point, when you look at that Florida A&M game, I really don't think he took advantage of what was given to him. And the reason I say that is every game, if you notice, Perry, our tight ends are nowhere to be found.
Yep.
And in that game by itself, the linebackers for A&M had the easiest night of all players on the field. They played honest. They played right there on the line, nobody to cover, and we never took advantage of any of that. And I was just wondering, why is it that he's bent on not using them, even though in the press conference he says he does. I haven't seen it. I just want to know what you thought about that.
And, that's funny. You did ask them because they did ask him, and you just brought that up. They asked him about the tight end play. And what I saw with Florida A&M, they used their tight ends, and it worked well because when they needed to get first downs on those third down drives, they were able to find them. They were able to get in there. They were able to get those first downs by using the tight ends. I'm not sure. And this is one of the things I talked about when he took on the position, that you're going to start to see the dwindle in the run game, and you're going to start to see especially dwindling in the tight end game. We had Ethan Howard. Now, the whole situation behind that, I'm not sure. I never did get the details. But Ethan Howard, I thought, had the best hands on the team from the tight end position. A big dude, really good. I called him Big Hand Ethan Howard. And you consider, it's been tough looking at Southern, especially not being, because those tight ends could help Harold Blood out. And why they haven't used him, and you're right, it comes down to the guy that's the offensive coordinator that's going to draw up the plays and put his team in position. Who we got on the phone line? Oh, Johnny. All right, Johnny, we got you back.
But, yeah, Kevin Baptiste was the one that asked him that question, and I thought it was interesting. He made the comment that it's not about the scheming of a play for a specific player, but whoever, is open. But, as an offensive coordinator, that's one of their main jobs, is to set up plays for different individuals. And I'll tell you another person that I feel we are not using. I was so glad to see the young man get a touchdown on that opening kickoff last week, is Jalen Howard. Jalen Howard is a speed demon, and we do not use him at all. I think about, back when Coach Berry was here, we used to see guys on end arounds and all those type of things. That's a play that's designed for that guy. I mean, if you would use him correctly, it would open up so many things, and I'm just looking at a team that, as you mentioned, and you open the dialogue, there's no identity. We're supposed to be basketball on grass. We far from basketball on grass. I mean, we're calling plays and getting them in with less than 10 seconds on the clock. That's not basketball on grass. No, so, like I say, I really think this team has the talent. We already know what the defense could do. It's a championship caliber defense. That's without a question. We have the special teams we need. It's just the offense, man. And we can put it on the players all we want. But I see this offense being stagnant and stuck in the mud, and it's not based on who's out there on the field.
Yeah, right now you look at Southern, when you look at the SWAC and total offense and scoring offense, Southern is 6th right now in the SWAC and scoring offense. When you look at total offense right now, Southern is ranked 5th in the SWAC. When you look at rushing, and this is a stat where Southern is right now that we're not used to seeing. When you look at rushing the ball, Southern was near the bottom. They just come up a little bit, but they ranked 9th. And what's interesting is Florida A&M is 10th in the SWAC in rushing. They've been getting it done in the air. And when you look at passing, Southern University, let me see, get this up. Southern is 2nd in the conference in passing offense. And the thing about it is you see so much more out there. You see so much more out there for Southern to be an explosive offense. And that's really been the thing about it. You see the opportunities to be explosive, but then it's the play calling. It is the lack of commitment to the run game. And when you start to culminate those things together, especially then not using the tight ends, it becomes a problem in a stagnant offense, especially when Harold Blood early on in the season was a turnover machine. You look at the turnovers, because let's look at winning drives that Southern had. Southern had opportunities for a winning drive in that Alabama State game in which the defense the entire second half and even down to the last minute continued to give Southern opportunities to get the ball back and do something with it. Harold Blood goes and throws an interception ball game at the end of the Alabama State game. Southern, honestly, against Jackson State had opportunities. Not being able to score before halftime. Giving up a touchdown. Then you come back, you look at the Florida A&M game. That last 2-minute drive. It has literally come down to execution and play calling, and it's 2 games right now Southern should have, and that's the FAMU and Alabama State game, I believe, for sure. The Alabama State game was there.
That's a given, Perry. I'm going to ask you a question I asked somebody else. Think about this. Think about that Florida A&M game. You take Willie Simmons and stick him. Just leave the rest of the coaching staff, but take Willie Simmons, bring him over to Southern sideline. You take Dooley and stick him over on the opposite side. Southern wins that game, in my opinion.
Of course, Southern has the talent. Southern showed you the entire game. The talent was there. Southern has weapons, especially at the wide receiver position. Southern has weapons at the running back position. The thing is, I think Southern has some quarterbacks. We got to give guys opportunities. That's the other thing I think that hampers that. I know he's in with Blood. You know, I like Noah Biden. A lot of people really haven't quite got a chance or really don't like the kid that way in terms of the quarterback. I think he has to heat up. He's shown he can be a quarterback in this conference, especially as a freshman. And then you have some younger guys that's on the quarterback in the quarterback room that I think if you give them opportunities, let's see what they do.
Exactly, man. I think about our receiver core, and I'll let you go. It reminds me of the guys we had back then with Davis and Vernon Davis and Alfred Orr, Chris Davis, all those guys. It reminds me of that. You won't know it because we don't utilize them. I mean, we got Cassius Allen, we got Petrie, you got Howard, you got the Qualls kid, you got the kid from I think it was Baker or Zachary last week that scored the freshman that scored the touchdown. I forgot his name. That's 5 or 6 receivers right there, but you would not know it if you look at our offense. You would think that we are barren, and we're not. And we're barely scoring 20 points a game. So, now, like I said, I'm not the wisest guy on this earth, but go figure out what's the problem.
Thank you for calling in this morning, Johnny.
Thank you, man.
All right. Let's go to the phone line. We got Chris on the line. Good morning, Chris.
Perry, what's going on? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Oh, hanging in there. Like I said, it was homecoming and everything like that. Very disappointed in the offensive play. The defense came out a little sluggish and everything. Something me and you and Flood was talking about. My biggest fear out this whole thing, and I really hope it get turned around, is my fear is Coach is doing the best he's capable of doing.
Yeah, you think he's maxed out?
I just hope something goes on because obviously we have the talent, and Perry, I don't understand it. When I listen to the coach's press conference every week, and all you hear is they compliment each other about, we got great coaches in this league. We got great coaches in this league. We got great coaches in this league. But, Perry, when you see what happened to Prairie View against Houston Christian, formerly Houston Baptist, they just started football in 2013, got a stadium that's only got stand seats on one side, a private Christian Baptist university. And, they beat Prairie View brains out like that. I understand the penalty calling and stuff, but how is that even possible? And then I'm watching these other schools and everything on TV, some of the lower FBS schools and then some of the FCS schools, and I'm just sitting here wanting to know, what is it that we missing? Where's the next Pete Richardson at? This is the thing that's really bothering the Southern thing. We looking for the next Pete Richardson. We looking for the next Pete Richardson that got talent can utilize the talent and can coach the talent. When you look at when Coach Richardson came here in 93, that 92 team, he had basically the same team that went 6-5. And he came here and went 11-1. And I'm just trying to figure out where the coach is. If you watch the Florida A&M game, like everybody said, like Johnny just got through saying, Florida A&M said, look, you can't sit back there and hold the ball because their pass rush is too good. Okay, they're stopping us on the run. So what we're going to do is we just going to move the chain. And he did that with number 81, the tight end.
Everything was quick, fast, get it out. No time to sit back. Let's get it out, get it out, get it out. Get
exactly.
It out.
Go back to your point that you made earlier this morning when you said Harold Blood doesn't process as quick. He stares down his receivers. That's the reason why he getting sacked, holding the ball too long, and what have you. So if I understand that's weakness right now, an area of improvement with my quarterback, I'm going to do the same thing that you saw Willie Simmons do.
Mm-hmm.
And that started to give him short, quick passes, like we did with the opening drive against Alabama State. That's what we did, the opening drive against Alabama State. Why? What happened to that? And here's the disheartening thing, period, for Southern fans. We got a good team, like Dooley says. We got athletes. The offensive line have been injured more. That's been the biggest hindrance, is they actually been injured.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest problem is we got a team. We had a team last year, period. And that's still a crawl in a lot of people's skins. Is because we basically feel like we throwed away opportunities last year. And when you see this year coming around and we having this lull, and it's a lot of things mentally that you got to get past. We 3-3 and ain't played an FBS school. Even though our goals are right there. But I'm telling you right now, he has a chance to show his mettle when we got to go to Longman, Mississippi. We don't stumble against Texas Southern. Because just like you said, a trap game, who would ever thought we'd have got beat 25-0 by Texas Southern? See what I'm saying? These are the kind of things that come back to haunt me. You know what I'm saying?
It happened, too.
Who would have ever thought we'd have gone to Texas Southern and get beat 25-0? You know, so, and then, like the Flood say, gaslighting the fans, then you come back and say, oh, I never even considered changing quarterbacks. Okay, we passed that. That was last year. But the thing that I'm saying is, and you know, just like he was saying, the team starting to jail, it's just like Flood say, winning cures all.
It does, and he has the opportunity right now down this stretch in order to, you know, last year we knew it wasn't the winning that really got us in the championship. It was the losing for other schools that got us in the championship. This year, although it was a rocky start, and I tell people that 0-2 start, it's been a while now. That was week 1 and 2. We in week 8, going into week 9 next week. You can help people easily forget that if you go ahead and down this stretch and put yourself in a position to set up this big game in Alcorn in Longman, Mississippi, and you take your team in there on the road in a place we have not won since, 2016?
2016.
And you go in there and you get a victory, you then can pull everybody back in. But you got to stay on the up and up. You got to keep it real with us, right? You got to put us in position when we're watching football, because I always say this, Chris, I can take if a team beats us. I can take a loss. I mean, that's with anything. A loss is going to be, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's how you lose. And when you watch how you lose, and it's like, damn, we literally squandered opportunities. Now, if a team just better than us, I can sit back and say, man, look, they was just better. Hats off, congratulations to them. We just wasn't ready. We don't have it. But when you see yourself in opportunities, like I said, the Bama State game, the Jackson State game, the FAMU game, it was how you lost, and it's like that game was winnable. That game was in our hands. They gave us every opportunity to win it, and it didn't look like we wanted to win it.
And the thing of it is you are so right. Here's what coaches, even with Coach Odoms, here's what coaches have to understand about Southern University fans. We understand football. I don't necessarily mean we know it all, but we understand football. We understand when we got a good team. And we got that from when Coach Richardson came in 93. Mm-hmm. We understand when we got solid special teams. We understand when we got a solid kicking game. And it's not the losses that disappoint us. It's when we don't play clean, fundamentally sound football. That's what disappoints us. And then when we see the talent level that we have, and then we don't see that executing, we don't see that coming forward, that's another disappointing thing that really eats at us. And so, you know, if he don't win at Alcorn, if he don't win out, if he don't run the table, and we know it's not because we don't have the talent, we just can't win the big game. And Perry, if you can't win the big game at Southern University, what good are you?
And that's what he's yet to do. Win a big game at Southern. You win a big game, period, is a head coach.
And you know, and that's the only thing that killed Coach Odom. Coach Odom only lost to what? Two teams in the with three. He lost that one year to Jackson. But
what's that? You talking about overall in his career?
Overall in his career in the SWAC, it was just two teams that really beat him. That was Grambling and Alcorn.
And I mean, I really wouldn't even say Grambling. I would just say Alcorn. Grambling had that too.
I'm just talking about literally losses.
Oh yeah.
I'm just talking literal losses.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing of it is just like I said, we you know, it's just like you look at it, Perry. They got a celebration bowl going on, and the Southern Jaguars ain't never even played in it.
And I've been to two of them over the years and watched other teams. You know, I finally was like, damn, I'm not coming back until Southern goes.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, that's just like me. Just and I mean, I hope I'm wrong. But I said I got 6 flags in my car. I'm not flying a one until a change is made. I am so serious.
Hey, Chris.
It's just that disappointing because I got to be proven that we can win the big game, that coach can coach us to the big game, and it'll come in all. I'm terrified of the day, Perry.
I'm not. I'm just going to sit back. I'm not invested. I'm supporting. I'm going to take my feelings out of it, and I'm going to take, because, Chris, and I'm going to have to let you go to the next call. We know who we are. We know what this is at this point. Every week shouldn't be a surprise. At this point, you know what you're dealing with. You got what they say. You got to just act accordingly now.
Well, all I can tell you, Perry, is 2 shutouts. 38-0 with your homeboy leading the way in Prairie View. 25-0 against Texas Southern and Andrew Biden. All right.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go to the phone lines. We got CJ on the line. Good morning, CJ.
Good morning, Perry. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Man, I don't know why y'all always get me behind Chris. You know, ain't nobody can follow up on Chris, man.
I don't know if y'all text each other and then y'all say, man, which one of us, and y'all like when you have to hit that button on who gets it first, Chris typically gets you first.
Yeah, but Chris come with so many facts and stuff, you know. You just can't go against what he said because everything he says is absolutely true. But look, man, this is the deal. You know, we brought a man in that we thought we was going to have as an offensive guru, and it just hasn't worked out. You know, what's the guy, Benedict Barry?
Yeah, Tennis Barry.
Yeah, you know, have you seen his team play?
Oh, yeah, Benedict right now is rolling.
Right, man. And he was the one that was controlling our offense, controlling our offensive line. He was getting us the big physical players. Perry, we're not a finesse team, nor are we a physical team. We're not even a creative team. Not on offense. I appreciate what we're doing on defense right now, but the offense is nowhere near where the defense is. We are flat. We play every game like a flat team. What happened to the running backs we had? The boy from Opelousas, I don't even know where he's at anymore.
Gerard Sims?
Yeah, Sims, and they had the other kid. But we don't have no explosiveness. We don't have no trick plays. We don't have none of the things that a team would usually have if they got a real good, strong, offensive, dominating team. Perry, you look at our offensive line, we don't have no team that's going to say, okay, we can get a 1 yard out of this or 2 yards out of this because they physical enough to push the people they got in front of them out of the way. We don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go get us some linemen next year more than anything. And
Flood talked about that O-line, and you know.
It's just not there.
Yeah.
It's not there, man. And they can use excuses after excuses after excuses, but when it comes down to it, we don't have the coaching mindset to create something that we do have to work for us. We're not open to new things. We open to the same things, and they haven't been working for us. We know if we had an explosive offense and lose games, the fans wouldn't be pissed off because they scoring points. They just ain't scoring enough points.
Offense sells the tickets. Defense wins the championship.
Exactly. And you can see now, defense we got, it still ain't doing what we supposed to have done. You know, they still get knocked down, beat up, and it's just a whole lot of frustration. But a lot of this stuff have been created by us. We have the fan base. They have a homecoming game like we had last week with the attendance and playing a school from California who, you know, ain't going to win another game for the next 2 or 3 years. You know, I still think the fans came out and did what they were supposed to do.
They did. They really did.
So, Perry, I just want to know, you know, what we need to do for next year, because next year, from what I see this year, Perry, we're going to have about the same thing. I don't see nothing coming in that's sitting out or doing anything that's going to be a strength for us next year.
Yeah.
How much can you go to the transfer portal and pull something out? We need some of him offensive linemen, man, that's going to be able to be physical.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, CJ.
And we don't have no creativity as it relates to about using the tight end. Hell, don't even worry about using the tight end. Use some of the running backs and create some plays. You know, you're going to need to look at what Texas Tech is doing on offense, what TCU is doing on offense, what Tulane is doing on offense. Man, we're struggling on every phase of the game when it comes to offense. We pray that, you know, something happens, but it's not happening. We're not creating.
I will say this. If you've ever listened, and I know people have been listening to Dooley lately, look, I've been to plenty of press conferences when he was listening to him at Prairie View and at Southern. He has said it over and over and over. He does not worry about, he don't watch much football outside of this league. So who he is he's a SWAC guy through and through when it comes to his play calling, when it comes to his concepts. He's not looking at what the NFL is doing. He's not looking what the Power Five or the Group of Fives. He's not looking at anything anybody else is doing. He is who he is when it comes to his play calling and when it comes to his coaching. He said that has come out of his mouth over and over and over. CJ, we got to go we're at the top of the hour. We got to take a break, man. Hey, thank everybody for calling in. We got to go to the top of the break. When we come back, top of the hour, when we come back, we'll go around the SWAC. I'll give you some scores and what happened around the SWAC last week, because it was homecoming spoilers left and right. We'll talk about that. Then we'll look at this week. Then we'll go into today's big game with Southern and Bethune-Cookman. Call in 499-1073. Thank everybody listening on YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere else. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned more to Jaguar Journal.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all. For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call away.
At Reliable Roofing, we're dedicated to providing exceptional roofing services, including roof inspections, repairs, and complete roof installations, with over 30 years' experience.
Reliable Roofing provided me with valuable, quality, and dependable service. They were reliable and affordable. Please protect your most valuable investment with quality roofing services from Reliable Roofing. Definitely where the pros go.
Let our family help your family. Call for a free estimate today.
Y'all can wake up now. Wake 'em up, Tupac.
Thank you for watching the Southern University Human Jukebox. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
A Maryland.
All right, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal, 8:03 a.m. Good morning to everybody out there listening on YouTube, listening out there on the radio waves, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and all over the place and in between. And good morning to listening on Facebook, man. We are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Of course, I'm Perry White. My man Flood is out today. And it is a big weekend around the SWAC. Last weekend, it was homecoming all around the SWAC, man. And there was some upsets for homecoming last week that really just had me scratching my head like, dang, how the hell did that happen? But, first of all, I want to say, if you have not already done it, if you're listening to my voice, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel. Become a subscribe member. It is free. It don't cost you nothing. Just subscribe, support. That way you can share. You can go back and listen to these episodes and also follow the Jaguar Journal on the Facebook page, man. We'd love to have your support. I know you guys get up each and every Saturday to listen to us. And for a lot of people that don't get a chance to get up early to listen to us, that's the beauty of having the playback. If you're not able to catch it live on the radio or catch us live on YouTube or Facebook, you can always go back and listen to this again. You can share it just in case there's some information that you want to hear a friend or a family member or just a supporter of your team or whoever else to hear what we have to say, man. So that's the main thing. Go hit that subscribe button. It is free. It absolutely costs you nothing. And if you're listening on the radio right now, get on your phone, go to YouTube. You know that app. Everybody watches YouTube, right? I don't know what you watch on there, but you watch something. Type in the Jaguar Journal, hit the subscribe button, and then just get off there. If you don't do nothing else, just get off there, because let me tell you, I love it because of the interesting conversations you'll see in the chat. Man, it's a whole nother world from what you hearing me talking about on the radio. That chat on the YouTube is a whole nother world, and especially Facebook as well. So I just want to put that out there. Y'all go hit that subscribe button, support, and we'll love to have it. But go back and look around the SWAC last week, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough of every game around the SWAC. And we're going to start with one of the games Chris was talking about. And thank you, Chris, CJ, and Johnny for calling in the first hour, man. Everybody had great points and expressing what you've seen so far this season. Houston Christian, formerly Houston Baptist, takes on Prairie View. One of my boys, a Prairie View grad, went to this game. He said, look, dude, we showed up at the stadium at 2 o'clock in the parking lot. Nobody was there. He said they don't tailgate. They don't do nothing. He said we had our own party in the parking lot, right? And that was about all where the party stopped. It stopped in the parking lot because Houston Christian found a way to get this done. They're 3-4 on the season. Prairie View now 3-4. Houston Christian 30, Prairie View 0. Yeah, you heard that right. Houston Christian 30, Prairie View 0. I actually had Prairie View picked in this game on my show with all script call outspoken. I had them picked in this game to win. I thought Prairie View came into this game seeming like they had weapons. And you look at this ball game, Prairie View going 1 of 10, 0-1 on 4th down, 1 and 10 on 3rd down. So let that soak in. 1 for 10 on 3rd downs. They only got 6 first downs the whole entire game. 110 yards of total offense, 90 passing yards, 20 rushing yards, 10 penalties for 100 yards. They almost had as many penalty yards as they had total yards. Silence, right. That is huge. Only 110 total yards, but 100 yards and penalties, 2 turnovers, 1 fumble, 1 interception in that ball game. Houston Baptist on the other side being able to muster up 445 total yards, 199 on the ground, 246 on the ground, 199 in the air, 246 on the ground. 246 yards on the ground there, and down goes Prairie View right there. I thought a winnable game. Those are the type of games you got to win in Houston against Houston Christian. Let's go up to North Louisiana. Grambling State University coming off that loss the week before at Alcorn's homecoming, 25-24. And then they host their own homecoming against a team traditionally they have had success against, the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M and Coach Connell, man. He's probably somewhere barking this morning because he was happy to get in there and get out of there with a victory. Something Alabama A&M does not do often is go in the hole up there at Grambling, Louisiana, and walk away with a victory. And not only a victory, ladies and gentlemen, convincingly, the Bulldogs 45, the Tigers 24, Alabama A&M in this ball game, 463 total yards, 127 passing, 336 rushing yards. When I give stats like that, silence has to come. Alabama A&M, 336 rushing yards. On the other side, I thought Grambling seemed to have got it together. Miles Crowley, their quarterback, had done well with limiting turnovers, but in the past 2 games, the turnovers have come knocking. And guess who's opened the door? Miles Crowley. For Grambling, 373 total yards, 244 in the air, 129 on the ground. 9 penalties for 116 yards, 3 turnovers in that ball game. And you look at Xavier Langford. Of course, he did not play when Southern and A&M played. Quincy Casey played. But Xavier Langford in this game wasn't good in the air. 9 of 22, 127 passing yards. But it was what he was able to do with his legs. 16 carries for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the other side, Miles Crowley, 21 of 36, 244 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And Alabama A&M was able to get the victory. We keep it going. How about going over to Jackson, Mississippi, right? Jackson State's homecoming. And we all remember what happened last year. And if you didn't, I'm about to fill you in. What they say, I'm about to give you the tea. All right, last year, Jackson State goes to Montgomery. Alabama State schedules Jackson State. All the chatter and everything went on the entire week about how disrespectful it is to schedule Jackson State for your homecoming, right? Alabama State does it. Close game. Bama State finds a way to lose it. Jackson State wins it. Midfield, you get the whole debacle of Eddie Robertson Jr., no relation to Eddie Robertson at Grambling, and Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, the whole scuffle, the pushback, and then you get the post game. He ain't SWAC. Then you get Deion Sanders saying, if I ain't SWAC, who is SWAC? It set up all the great things for this past weekend because you know what Jackson State did? They repaid the favorite Alabama State and scheduled Alabama State for their homecoming. And, man, I bet they wish they didn't have done that, right? Alabama State goes, I said the battle of the capital cities, Montgomery versus Jackson. Listen, Alabama State goes on the road to Jackson State. Jackson State's homecoming. Alabama State Hornets able to walk out of there with a victory against the Tigers, 24-19. Bama State now 3-3 on the season. Jackson State falls to 4-3. And Jackson State dominated this game if you look at total offense. Right? Let's start on the side for Alabama State, going 3 of 12 on third down, 241 total yards in this game, only 91 passing yards, 150 yards on the ground rushing. They had 2 turnovers, both by interception. But when you look at the stats and you listen to Jackson State stats, you're like, how in the hell did they lose this game? 410 total yards in this game, 228 passing, 182 on the ground, 3 turnovers by way of fumbles. The Jackson State fans aren't happy, right? You do all that talking. You do all that. You're going to schedule you for homecoming. Then you come up and lose this game. Jackson State's quarterback, Jason Brown, who a lot of Tiger fans I've been seeing are unhappy with, but he gave you a modest day. It just wasn't a day in the end zone. 30 of 44, 234 total yards, passing yards, 0 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Their running back, Irv Mulligan, who I think for me is probably the best back in the conference, went down in that game. He finished with 11 carries, 57 yards rushing. Alabama State, Eddie Robinson Jr., on the road at Jackson State, getting their payback, getting their lick back with a victory against Jackson State. They're now 7-3 in their last 10 meetings with the Tigers. All right, then we go up to Bethune, Mississippi. It was their homecoming. You see where I'm going with this? It was homecoming last week. Everybody was celebrating. And Mississippi Valley, the Delta Devils, I don't know what got into them. I don't know. You ever watched Space Jam when they drunk the Monstars juice or whatever? I don't know what happened, but they got it. They got the juice, and they got their first victory of the season against who? The Golden Lions of UAPB. UAPB. Come on, man. And I had the Golden Lions pick. I lost the bet in this game. I actually had UAPB to beat Valley, but Mississippi Valley turned it up. They got the victory 42-17. 42-17. Mississippi Valley gets the victory. They get their first victory of the season. They're 1-5. The Golden Lions fall to 1-5, of course. They only have one victory, and that was against Division II Miles with a 4th down goal line stance to win that game. You look at this ball game, total yards for the Golden Lions, 409 yards, 175 in the air, 234 on the ground for the Lions, 2 turnovers, 1 fumble, 1 interception. On the other side for the Delta Devils, big day, 414 total yards, 265 passing, 149 rushing, 0 turnovers in that ball game for Mississippi Valley. Tajarian Williams, their quarterback for the Delta Devils, 19 of 29, 265 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 8 carries, 30 yards. Guess what? He was the FCS Freshman Player of the Week. So he got some attention over there to Bethune, Mississippi, as the Delta Devils won their homecoming big, 42-17. Another homecoming, Bethune-Cookman. Today's opponent for Southern had their homecoming over in Daytona Beach, taking on the Tigers of Texas Southern. Texas Southern went over there, and guess what? They sported just like some of those other ones I talked about. 34-31, Bethune-Cookman falls to 1-5 on the season. Texas Southern picked up their second win. Their first win was against Lincoln, now on the road, 34-31 over Bethune-Cookman. Texas Southern this game 4 of 11 on third down, 388 total yards, 189 passing, 199 rushing, 9 penalties for 110 yards. Got to get those penalty yards down, man. Penalty yards are the difference maker, especially in this game where Texas Southern had 0 turnovers. On the other side of the ball for Bethune-Cookman, they went 11-22 on third down, 330 total yards, 128 passing, 202 on the ground. They had 2 turnovers in this ball game, a fumble and an interception. But I think the bell cow, the guy of the day for Texas Southern, Ladarius Owens, their running back, 19 carries, 163 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And if that wasn't enough, in the kick return, 4 kick returns for 142 yards. He averaged 35 yards on the kick return. He was averaging 8 yards a carry. He got it done for Texas Southern, and they were able to go on the road and get a victory. And then, of course, let's get to the Jaguars of Southern University. It was their homecoming as well. Everybody celebrated homecoming around the conference, and Southern was able to get it done against Lincoln, who is now 0-8. Southern now goes to 3-3 on the season, 45-18 for the Jaguars in this ball game. Southern 458 total yards, 352 passing, 106 on the ground, 13 penalties for 113 yards, 2 turnovers by way of interception in this ball game. Harold Blood, 19 of 28, 329 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. Gary Quarles, 14 carries, 92 yards, a touchdown. Kendra Grimes, 4 carries, 14 yards, a touchdown. Darren Morris, 1 reception for 98 yards, a touchdown. Gary Quarles Jr., 6 receptions, 72 yards, a touchdown. Kendra Grimes, 2 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown. That's kind of how it went. You expected that. Probably expected to be a lot more, but, hey, the Jaguars got the victory. Let's go to the phone line real quick. We got Chuck on the line. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm just chiming in what you were just talking about homecoming nightmares. One of them I know is not SWAC, but this is SIAC. Shout out go out to Sports Information Director of Edward Waters University, Joshua Jackson, on that radio call on the Hail Mary, which Edward Waters upset Tuskegee by the score of 41-38. They were balling and parlaying, but they ended up falling after parlaying. I would have put that one in there. And also, I'm gonna be quick with this. I call because I'm one of the people that witnessed the nightmare of Grambling losing to Alabama A&M. I was present at that game. Xavier Langford just went on a tear, and seemed like Grambling, he thought it was going in the right direction. Just when the wheels just fell off, and Alabama A&M just picked up. I sat on the side over there where Alabama A&M was, and what happened? I used my phone. I videoed Connell Maynard in action coaching. You know what he was doing? He had me laughing. He was working the sideline. He was working the players, the coaches, and the officials, and he had me laughing the whole time. But yeah, A&M realized that I think Maynard realized that, hey, look, man, I have to keep this job. Like you said, hey, I love this job. I had to keep it going.
And that was probably his biggest win thus far at A&M outside of that spring 21 COVID year when he won the championship. But when you talk about a regular season game, they were in much need of this type of victory right here.
You're right. Like I say, he's like Cheryl Underwood on the talk. She said, "I love my good CBS job." He's probably said, "Hey, I love my good Alabama A&M University job." he was working that sideline, and like I say, put Xavier Langford in there, and like that defense just fell apart. Graham, they just couldn't get anything going. And you thought after all point, they redeemed themselves. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, it was tough on Grambling up there in the hole. Hey, Chuck, thank you for calling in, man. We got to get ready to take a break. Let's take a break. Let's come back. I'll talk about the games around the SWAC today, some other homecomings going on, and just build up for the Southern Bethune-Cookman game and whatever else is going on. Then we talk about the MEAC because we're getting close to the Celebration Bowl. You know, we're knocking on the door. MEAC play has started. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope and healing is just a phone call away.
At Reliable Roofing, we're dedicated to providing exceptional roofing services, including roof inspections, repairs, and complete roof installations, with over 30 years' experience.
Reliable Roofing provided me with valuable, quality, and dependable service. They were reliable and affordable. Please protect your most valuable investment with quality roofing services from Reliable Roofing. Definitely with a Pro Pro.
Let our family help your family. Call for a free estimate today.
Tupac.
Good morning, everybody out there. This is the Jaguar Journal. Of course, I am Perry White. I thank you guys for getting up bright and early on this Saturday morning to hear this old voice of mine. Look, it'll be rough on me on a Saturday, especially because I love my Fridays. I know y'all hear that every weekend, right? Good morning to everybody out there listening in the radio land. I tell people, we're just not on YouTube and social media. We're actually on radio. So radio takes you to a whole different place. So good morning to everybody out there across the state of Louisiana listening, over in the middle part of the state of Alexandria, all the way down to the bottom of the state in New Orleans and the surrounding areas right here around Baton Rouge. Man, I appreciate you guys tuning in on the radio. And then everybody that's listening to us via your Wi-Fi, because I know you don't have dial-up, so you're using your Wi-Fi. Good morning to you listening on YouTube as well as Facebook. I just posted in all the groups, and then on the YouTube channel. And if you hear my voice, go to this Jaguar Journal's YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. It is free. It does not cost you nothing. We're not asking for membership fees. I'm not asking for your Social Security number. I don't want any of that stuff. I just want your support. And I want you to realize this is a Southern show, but we talk about everything. So I want everybody to feel welcome when they come in to be able to have a conversation and talk about any and everything, because at the end of the day, it's all about putting the spotlight on our HBCUs. It's about putting the spotlight on the SWAC, the MEAC, and everybody else that plays in this realm of what we like to support. And it's just not football, it's all the sports. So welcome in, regardless of who you like or who you with. You're welcome to come on in here and have a conversation, because I'm always welcome to talk about any and everything. And now today we're going to talk about the games happening in Week 8 around the SWAC. I just told you early in the show, it is homecoming up there in Pine Bluff, Arkansas this morning. They're up getting ready, probably already at the parade, getting it going. Guess what? I wasn't going up there, but yes, hey, happy homecoming to the Golden Lions. I know many people up there, my mom and everybody else. If anybody is tuned in from up there in Pine Bluff, good morning to you and happy homecoming. They got a big task today, right? They bring in the Alcorn State Braves. Alcorn seems to have kind of finding thing. Aaron Allen right now in the season, he's 106 for 156 in terms of passing for 1,159 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jarvion Howard has not really had the season you're looking for after the previous year. 76 carries, 281 yards total, and 3 touchdowns on the season. You go back and you look at Alcorn's last 2 games, a 25-24 victory at home at their homecoming against Grambling, and a 23-20 victory in overtime against Alabama State on the road. Alcorn lost 23-20 to Prairie View at home, and they beat McNeese State 17-3 back September the 6th. Alcorn now has won 3 of their last 4 games, 3-1 in their last 4 games. Coach Fred McNair seems to have them in a position to get it going. For the Golden Lions, man, it has been rough. After that 21-20 victory against Miles College, they lost to Alabama A&M on the road on a Thursday night, 31-24. They lost to Southern at home, 27-0, and then go on the road last week and get blown out by Mississippi Valley at their homecoming, 42-17. Good luck to the Golden Lions today against Alcorn. But let me tell you something. It's always wacky when Pine Bluff and Alcorn play. So I'm not just going to go out because Alcorn's been playing well. For some reason, that game, and if you don't know, I grew up around UAPB. It is wacky when UAPB plays Alcorn, and UAPB actually has, of the few teams in this conference, has a overall winning record against the Alcorn State Braves. So I think although it seems like a mismatch, keep your eyes on that one up there in Pine Bluff today. Kickoff at 2 o'clock. Mississippi Valley and Jackson State. An in-state game of 2 teams, and you're looking at Valley coming off the victory last week, the way that they did, 42 points put up on the board against the Golden Lions, and Jackson State coming off a tough loss to Bama State. Now they go on the road to Itta Bena, and you know it's tough to go to Itta Bena. Jason Brown on the season has passed for 1,313 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Irv Mulligan, I'd be interested to see, will he be ready to go today at the running back position? 120 carries, 681 yards, 5 touchdowns. Rico Powers, 380 yards receiving off of 26 receptions and 2 touchdowns. On the other side, Tajirian Williams has passed for 649 yards and 4 touchdowns. Let's not forget, he was the FCS Freshman Player of the Week last week in terms of his performance. This should be a good one. Jackson State losing 24-19 last week to Alabama State, but the 2 previous games before that, they won 45-30 over A&M and 22-16 against Bethune-Cookman. Fort Valley 42-17 last week against Pine Bluff, but it was tough. All the games before that, losing 31-12 to PV, 31-7 to Florida A&M. This should be interesting. Let's see if Valley is able to continue what they have going on. That Itta Bena magic, man. It's something about going up there and having to play in that stadium. And then Florida A&M going on the road to Houston, Texas today, taking on Texas Southern. Florida A&M 5-1 on the season. Texas Southern just played homecoming spoiler last week in Daytona Beach. They're 2-4. You look at Jeremy Musa. He's passed for 1,569 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the season. Marcus Riley, a guy I really like at their wide receiver spot, 21 receptions, 394 yards, receiving 3 touchdowns. Ladarius Owens, the guy I told you, he was the bell cow last week. You want to know how Texas Southern upset Bethune-Cookman? It was the Ladarius Owens show. So far on the season, 567 yards rushing off of 79 carries, 5 touchdowns. Florida A&M is rolling 31-10 over West Florida, 23-10 over Alabama State, 31-7 over Mississippi Valley, and a 26-19 victory over Southern. On the other side, Texas Southern has won their last two. Just want to say that. They've won their last two, and guess who comes to Baton Rouge next week? But it wouldn't matter. They was against Lincoln 52-7. It was against Bethune-Cookman 34-31. But they're still a team that you got to watch out for if you don't come prepared, ready to play. All right? And then Southern's game today against Bethune-Cookman. We'll get there. But let's go to the phone line first. Who we got on the line? We got William on the line. Good morning, William.
Hi, Perry. How are you?
Doing well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Perry, I had a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why we're not playing Kobe Dillon more?
I wish I had the answers for you. And you know what? Because of that, I will ask that in the press conference on Monday. I'll talk to Coach and say, hey, what's going on with Kobe Dillon?
Because I see we got a little 5'6" running back that we're trying to run up the middle. I don't know why we're not playing Kobe Dillon or either the guy Corey Russell. They're much big back. And I see Quarles Jr. just get thrown down just like a little rag doll.
You know, one of the hardest things, William, is getting in the press conference and actually having conversations with Coach Dooley, because it seems like he already has his responses ready. No matter what you ask, he's going to already give you a response that's not quite along the lines of what you ask. So I'll do my best to try to knock on that door and see what's going on with Kobe Dillon. I saw Kobe Dillon in some Wildcat formations when we were at UAPB near the goal line, and they kind of bagged off from using him in that. But you're right. Gary Quarles seems to be the guy that he's sold on with Kendrick Grimes. And I think Kendrick Grimes, when you look at who's the hardest running back, to me, Kendrick Grimes is the hardest running back. But he seems to like Gary Quarles being able to come out of the backfield and maybe be a option, a dump-off option for Harold Blood if he ever looks to use him.
Yeah, I say that Gary Quarles must have something on Coach Dooley as much as we keep him in the ball game. The other question, what did ever happen to the guy Ethan Howard? Because I've never seen him anywhere else, really. Do you know what really happened to him?
I don't know, man, and that was one of the questions around that time, and thank you for calling, William. That was one of those things that I was kept asking for, when I was around the program, hey, what's going on? It was, where is he? Because I like Ethan Howard from the tight end position. We had a glimpse of him in that spring season, and you saw this guy and was like, look, we got us something with this one, right? I called him Big Hand Ethan Howard, man. He had the best hands. He could run. He was sweet with it to say he was a tight end. Then he just faded off. I don't know what has happened to him. I don't know where he is. I just know along the lines with the coaching change, it didn't seem he fit in with Coach Eric Dooley and what was going on with his offense. All right, so let's get ready to take a break. We come back. We'll talk about some Southern Bethune-Cookman. Then I'll talk to you about what's going on in the MEAC, because MEAC play has started, and guess what? We're now talking about the road to the Celebration Bowl, and it'll be here before you know it. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call away.
At Reliable Roofing, we're dedicated to providing exceptional roofing services, including roof inspections, repairs, and complete roof installations, with over 30 years' experience.
Reliable Roofing provided me with valuable, quality, and dependable service. They were reliable and affordable. Please protect your most valuable investment with quality roofing services from Reliable Roofing. Definitely where the pros go.
Let our family help your family. Call for a free estimate today.
Tupac.
right, we're back with more of the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there listening, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and all the surrounding areas. And anybody listening out there across the world, of course, YouTube, go hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, the Jaguar Journal, and then go over to the Jaguar Journal Facebook page and hit that like and follow the page and whatever else, man. We'd love to have you guys and your support. Thank you for tuning in this morning. As always, good morning to everybody in the chat on the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel. I love the conversations. I saw somebody say you asked about William Ethan Howard. They say he's at a JUCO over in Mississippi, and he's doing well. So, you know, that's where Ethan Howard is. I'm going to look more into it and do my research, but that's where he is, and just love to have you guys support, man. I mean, because it's bright and early. I know if I wasn't doing this show, man, it'd probably be rough for me to get up bright and early and catch this show. So I really do appreciate the fact that you guys do get up, you interact with us, you call in, you're in the chat, man. I really do. You don't realize how much that means. And then especially when I'm out and about and people, you know, say, man, I listen to the show, man. I love hearing you. Man, that really means something to me because that's support, man. And look, that's priceless. There's nothing I can do but just say thank you. And when I say thank you, really understand, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's a pleasure getting up doing this. And you know, I got to love it. I get up early. Mike, we get up early. I'm not even going to say just me. Mike, we get up early on Saturdays to make sure this thing going. And, you know, most people not even morning people, especially on a Saturday morning, right? So it's rough getting up, but got to have a good attitude. Some days are better than others. Today I'm feeling great. Southern on the road taking on Bethune-Cookman. Let's talk about that game. Southern coming into this ball game 3-3. Bethune-Cookman 1-5. Harold Blood on the season right now has passed for 1,370 yards, 9 touchdowns to his 6 interceptions. Gary Quarles right now 73 carries for 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then Chandler Whitfield 14 receptions, 245 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Southern right now won 3 of their last 4 games. 20-10 victory over Alabama A&M, a 27-0 victory over UAPB, a tough 26-19 loss to Florida A&M, and then, of course, last week at homecoming, 45-18 victory over at Lincoln. On the other side for Bethune-Cookman, today's game will be played in Jacksonville as well. TIAA Stadium, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the NFL venue. Bethune-Cookman, in their last 4 games, they 0-4. 48-7 loss to Miami, a 22-6 close one to Jackson State, a 19-14 close one to Alabama State, and a 34-31 close one to Texas Southern. So I'll go back over there because I want you to realize what Southern is up against today. This Wildcat team lost 22-16 to Jackson, 19-14 to Alabama State, 34-31 to Texas Southern. They can compete. And if you come, that's what I call this a trap game. Going on the road, Southern, that is a long way. Of course, Southern took an airplane flight over there to Jacksonville, so you know they didn't have to sit on that bus ride like the band. But nonetheless, this is all the makings of a trap game for Southern. And if they don't come ready to play, Bethune-Cookman could possibly get in there and get this victory. If Southern has to come out and be efficient today. Harold Blood has to be able to pass the ball. The run game's going to have to open up. Of course, what I always say, look at the success that the team had the previous week. And I said this last year when we took on Texas Southern, and like Chris said early in the show, we didn't score a point. My issue was with Coach Eric Dooley at that time. I went back and looked at the previous 3 opponents that Texas Southern had played before they played Southern. All of those opponents damn near ran for 300 yards against Texas Southern's defense. Everybody had 200-plus yards in the air. Matter of fact, Prairie View beat Texas Southern last year and I think only completed 3 or 4 passes. So if I go and I look at that, the recipe seems to be this team can't stop nobody on the ground. I go back, I look at Bethune-Cookman last week, giving up some big plays on the ground. They seem to be vulnerable in the run game and run defense. Take advantage of that, Coach Dooley, if you can. You got the guys. William asked you, what about Kobe Dillon? I'm asking him, what about Kendrick Grimes? We've seen Gary Quarles. Be patient enough to let the run game come to you so you don't have to put the ball in Harold Blood's hands so much and make him think so much. He stares down his receivers. He has to be comfortable. Keep him out of positions of being on his back because of sacks. Put him in positions to be successful. I believe Southern's defense is going to step up. I believe they'll be there ready to play. But when it comes to the offense, you cannot leave your defense on the field all day because you're going 3 and out or because of turnovers. You have to limit your defense being on the field so much. You have to take drives. You have to run the ball. You have to let them rest. All right, let's go look at the SWAC East standings. I'm talking about the Celebration Bowl is coming up. Right now in the SWAC East, let's start at the bottom. Bethune-Cookman 1-5 overall, 0-3 in conference play. Mississippi Valley 1-5 overall, 1-2 in conference play. The Bulldogs of Alabama A&M 4-3 overall, 2-2 in conference play. They're tied, and there's a three-way with Alabama State, Jackson, and Alabama A&M. Jackson State 4-3 overall, 2-2 in conference play, and then the Hornets of Alabama State 3-3 overall, 2-2 in conference play. And you know who at the top, Florida A&M 5-1 overall, 4-0 in conference play. Then we switch over to the SWAC West. UAPB Golden Lions, happy homecoming to the Golden Lions. They're 1-5 overall, 0-3 in conference play. Texas Southern 2-4 overall, 1-2 in conference play. Right there at the third spot, the Tigers of Grambling State. Just 2 weeks ago, they were at the top. 3-4 overall, 2-2 in conference play. Then you have Southern and Alcorn basically identical, tied in the same spot. Both teams 3-3 overall, both teams 2-1 in conference play. And regardless of what happened to Prairie View last week at Houston Christian, they're 3-4 overall, 3-1 in conference play right now. And that's what you see with the SWAC West. The SWAC West is heating up, man. This thing look like it can go a multitude of different ways. I think when you look at the SWAC East, everybody's playing for second place at this point. But in the SWAC West, it is still very much open. And if you didn't get a chance Thursday night to watch some MEAC football, because now MEAC has started. The MEAC season is underway, and North Carolina Central had one heck of a game against Morgan State, in which Morgan State was up pretty much that entire game 3-0. But then North Carolina State, Trey Oliver, Davius Richardson, found a way to get it done. The defending Black College National Champions. And I'll take you through that game. North Carolina Central, who's the number one team in Black College football, and the reason I'm talking about them, they're 6-1 against Morgan State, who arguably has played so many close games that they could arguably, knocking on the door, could possibly 3 weeks ago been maybe the number one Black College team. That's how close they've been. They have not been able to find ways to get it done. North Carolina Central getting the victory 16-10. North Carolina Central in this game only 201 total yards, 122 in the air, 79 on the ground. Morgan State 285 total yards, 167 passing, 118 rushing, 2 turnovers in this ball game by way of a fumble and an interception. Davius Richardson, 16 of 30, 122 yards, 1 touchdown in this ball game. He also had 11 carries for 29 yards and no touchdown, man. You look at that, it was a hell of a game. Hell of a game. 13 fourth-quarter points for the Eagles of North Carolina Central, and they were able to get it done, getting the victory over Morgan State. It's getting interesting now that we're starting to heat up. We're getting into the thick of things. Let's look around the MEAC. Who else is playing today? Norfolk State in a close one last week against Tennessee State. That was Eddie George versus Dawson Odoms. One heck of a game, man. And I know a lot of people talk about Dawson Odoms. They're my dark horse in the MEAC. They have been right there on the verge of every game they have played. I talked to Dawson Odoms a few weeks ago. He said, man, I got a team that's young. They just got to learn how to play 4 complete quarters. 4 complete quarters. He said, when they learn how to do that, we're going to be something. And if you look at their schedule, the losses, they're 2-4 on the season. But if you look at their schedule and you go back and look at the games that they played, they've been right there. Norfolk State has been knocking on the door. They got a 31-23 victory over Hampton. Of course, they went and played Temple, blew out 41-9. They beat Towson 21-14. They lost to North Carolina A&T 28-26. Then they lost to Tennessee State 24-17. They got a big one today, taking on Howard. It's Howard's homecoming. Howard is another team that's been right there knocking on the door, playing tough. Howard started the season with a 65-19 victory over Morehouse. They lost by 1 point to Hampton, 35-34. They went and took on Robert Morris. They won 35-10. They went up there to Big Ten country. Took on Northwestern, Evansville, Illinois, right there outside of Chicago. Lost by 3, 23-20. But then last week, they take on the smart guys over there at Harvard. Completely got swept off the field, 48-7. South Carolina State, Coach Buddy Pugh, in his last hoorah, takes on Delaware State. Corey Fields Jr. seems to have been playing better so far. You see him this year. Started out rocky to start the season, but got to help but think that Buddy Pugh is going to start to make his move. This is last one. This is last season in the MEAC. He's going to make his move. You look at MEAC play has started. It's underway. The Celebration Bowl is going to start. The pitcher is going to start to come around. We're going to start to see who's going to be in this thing. Howard's homecoming today against Norfolk State. South Carolina State on the road to Delaware State. And, of course, North Carolina Central getting the victory over Morgan State. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back. Get ready to close this thing out, talk about the keys to victory, what Southern needs to do, and maybe what Bethune-Cookman can do in order to get an upset victory today over the Jaguars. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call away.
At Reliable Roofing, we're dedicated to providing exceptional roofing services, including roof inspections, repairs, and complete roof installations, with over 30 years' experience.
Reliable Roofing provided me with valuable, quality, and dependable service. They were reliable and affordable. Please protect your most valuable investment with quality roofing services from Reliable Roofing. Definitely where the pros go.
Let our family help your family. Call for a free estimate today.
Tupac.
Thank you for watching the Southern University Human Jukebox. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Put them foes up, as they say. It is the fourth quarter. We're about to get ready to close this thing out. Good morning to everybody out there listening on YouTube. We want to appreciate you for that. The chat is always entertaining. I love the conversations and the questions and everything that goes on in there. Good morning to everybody on the Facebook Live that's watching. Good morning to everybody that's listening out there in Radio Land, from New Orleans to Baton Rouge to Alexandria and anywhere in between. They told me KTTP 1110 Alexandria Pineville. All right, good morning to you guys up there, of getting up, waking up bright and early, being able to listen to this old voice of me, Perry White, talking about some SWAC, MEAC, and Southern. Of course, the Jaguars on the road. The Jaguars on the road today against the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman, TIAA Stadium over in Jacksonville, Florida, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, they just took on the Saints Thursday night. So, it's going to be interesting with that matchup today. This has the makings of what I call a trap game. Southern, winners of 3 of their last 4 games, 3-1 of their last 4. This has an opportunity for Southern to get on the right track, to get this victory against Bethune on the road, then come back home next week against Texas Southern. All right? Then you move on from Texas Southern, then you set up a big one. If Alcorn can stay on track, which I don't care if they do or don't, but Alcorn is on the road today against Pine Bluff. And I'm telling you, watch that game. That may be something. Pine Bluff always plays Alcorn. It's a wacky game. I'm telling you from experience. It is a wacky game. I don't know why, but it always turns out something silly when those two teams play. But Fred McNair seems to be having them headed in the right direction. Aaron Allen seems to be headed in the right direction as the quarterback for them. For us, Harold Blood needs to be headed in the right direction for Southern University today. Limit the turnovers. Coach Dooley, put your team in a position to win. Run the ball. Running the ball, teams have found success running the ball against Bethune-Cookman. Bethune is no slouch when it comes to talent either. I want to let you know that. In their last 3 games against SWAC opponents, it has literally come down to 1 possession, 1 touchdown. You got to get in there. You got to play smart. You got to limit the turnovers. That's how Texas Southern was able to get out of Bethune last week, the lack of turnovers for Texas Southern, but what they were able to cause from Bethune. Bethune will not go easy. You got to get in there, close this thing out. We know Southern typically on their first drive, they can get down the field. You're going to have to be consistent today. You're going to put up some points. You don't want to be in a dog fight with a team like Bethune-Cookman today. You don't want to have to go back and forward on the road. I'd be curious to see how many fans show up to this ball game today as well. But things are starting to take shape, ladies and gentlemen. We are in week 8. Week 9 will be next week. Southern will be back home against Texas Southern, and there'll be plenty of games around the conference and the SWAC, and as well as around the MEAC, to start giving us a picture of what this is going to be by the time we get to November. It's like Dawson Owens used to say, a November to remember. But Southern has to be able to close out October strong. They have 2 opponents that put them in a position to be able to do that. Can Southern be that dominant team we've been looking for? I think Southern is a team that just can get by. This won't be no huge victory when you look at the Eric Dooley victory list, right? This is one of those, when you look at the schedule, we're supposed to win this. I know everybody, you just can't give victories to people, but considering it's Southern, you say this is a W. You look at Texas Southern next week, you say that's a W, right? And I'm not saying look ahead, but I'm saying that's the confidence we have going into this game, that we have the talent. It's just, can the coaches put them in positions to win? Coach Dooley don't want to come back from Jacksonville, Florida with no L. I know that. With me being able to talk on this radio show next week and y'all being able to call in, he don't want to do that. I'll be at the press conference on Tuesday to be able to ask some questions and talk to him and see where his head is. But the Jags got a big, tall task today against Bethune-Cookman. I think this won't be one of those easy games. I don't believe this game is live streamed. I know somebody asked. I don't think it's live streamed. It is not televised. I know you'll be able to listen to it on the radio. And I think you would have to go to Go Jag Sports or Go Jag Sports and been able to click in and go there. So I will advise, if you want to listen to this game today, if you're not in Jacksonville, go to Go Jag Sports and find your way around the page to be able to listen to the game. It is going to be 3 o'clock kickoff Central, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time over there in Jacksonville, Florida, between Southern University Jaguars and the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman. I'm coming down to the end of the show today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Man, like I said, always, it is a pleasure to have you guys listening. It's always a pleasure to meet you guys in person when people walk up to me and talk to me. As always, I want to thank Mike for getting up, man. He's doing the best he can and everything he can to help this show continue to grow. And, man, we can't do it without you, Mike. So I appreciate you and love you for everything that you do. And I appreciate and love you guys for tuning in and listening. Be sure to go follow our Jaguar Journal YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. I promise you, it is free. It won't ask you for no information. You click that button, hey, get back to your day. That's all I'm asking. And then go follow us on the Jaguar Journal Facebook page, man. We'd love to have your supporters and followers of what we do here. Like I said, we talk about any and everything. And thank you to everybody out there listening to Radio Land right here in Baton Rouge on 107.3, up in Alexandria and down in New Orleans. And like I said, everywhere in between, man, we appreciate you guys for your support. As always, I'm Perry White, and as my man Flood said, we'll be back next week at the same time in the same place because it is the Jaguar Journal. Peace, y'all.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal.